Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we have some more indie comic goodness in the form of Ulf Maverick, Tony Fero's Outlaw comic book. So cool. Just got this a few days ago and it is rad, as you can tell from the 80s inspired covers. Anyway, that is what we're looking at today. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. Now, and when it comes to comic books, sometimes dreams really do come true, and this is quite a literal example of that. Indie cartoonist Tony Fero has sent me his amazing comic book, Ulf Maverick, and apparently this came from a dream. Tony had a dream, completely realized comic book, woke up frantically trying to jot down notes and remember this, and then finally had the idea that it would work well in an Outlaw comic, and here it is, Ulf Maverick. Issue 1 number here. I love the like airbrush sort of 80s kind of influence. I like Tony Fero's art a lot. I feel like he's kind of always doing something new. Very prolific, very busy. He seems to have a reverence for like old school masters such as Jack Kirby. Obviously, you can see from this splash page that there's a lot of influence there. I'm getting a lot of Eric Larson too, but definitely like that 70s kind of Marvel kind of vibe. But anyway, like I said, this is where he chronicles how it came to him in a dream, and he woke up and just like wrote down random words, bullet points, if you will. I've done that sometimes. Like, I am the worst person for this. Like, I know you should always like write down your ideas, but I'm always convinced that I'm gonna remember them, and of course I never do. And then I wonder why I'm not further in life. But hey kids, take notes. If you get nothing else from this video, then the message to take notes is there. Anyway, it just feels rough and gritty. It's black and white. The art is gorgeous. The flow of the story is very cool. It's Outlaw, so it's going to be outlandish and over the top, and that's kind of what you would expect for an Outlaw comic book. But great storytelling, very moody, very evocative, very sort of 80s in a way, unless I'm missing that. But I feel like it's there. And I have to say, like, how cool, right? Like, total props for somebody to have a dream about a comic book, then actually make it happen. It was just a lot of fun. It's like very Tarantino-esque in a way. Like when somebody says Outlaw comics, I always kind of think of like what kind of comic book like a Quentin Tarantino might make. And you definitely seeing like some of that influence in here. But like I said, it's just like a lot of fun and grim and gritty. So if you're into those types of comic books, then this is definitely up your alley. I will put a link in the description on where to find more from Tony. I love this like kind of latex mask that he's wearing here. Such a great twist. I also felt like there was a lot of like Sin City kind of influence in here. Obviously, it didn't take much to get there from turning this page, right? But so much fun. That's the joy of doing this channel, is to be able to spotlight like lesser known or less mainstream kind of comic books that people might not have heard of, myself included. I put a shout out to anyone to send me their books to review, and Tony answered the call to arms. I have a few other books that I'm probably going to look over, but today we're just doing Ulf Maverick because I thought it deserved kind of its own spotlight. When I got the package in the mail, it was from Ann Arbor, Michigan, so that actually initially made me excited because I'm from Toledo, Ohio, and my big excitement as a teen was going to Ann Arbor to Dave's Comics in order to get comic books that comic books like this, really, that I couldn't find in Toledo, Ohio. And then later, when I was of age, going to clubbing at the Nectarine Ballroom in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So how much fun is that? It's funny because my brother is also a cartoonist and kind of a punk rocker, and I definitely feel like this comic book reminded me of him and his friends and their sensibility and sort of the way they talk and their aesthetic and things like that. So I thought it was a lot of fun in that regard. And speaking of punk rock, apparently this freaking comic book has its own soundtrack now. I mean, how cool is that? So you go from having like some weird obscure dream to like having not only a fully realized couple of comic books but a soundtrack on top of it. So how major is that? Like, very cool. I love the name Ulf Maverick. Like, talk about a gift. Like, you know what I mean? I talk about process and creation and you know, how to make comics a lot and on my channel. And I've talked about, you know, sometimes I do feel like sometimes you are channeling something else and just like, I don't know, pulling, I don't, creativity or art from some sort of ether. I don't know. And I feel like books like that sort of come from that. So I really enjoyed this book a lot. Great, like, cityscape in there. You know, the storytelling is really good. Like, there's such a reverence for the art form. He uses a lot of great zipatone, you know. It's funny because from an editorial eye or whatever, you know, there's certain things you look for in comic books that separates the men from the boys. I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying something like that, but I don't really care. I'm middle-aged, so I come from a different era, but you know what I mean, the point I'm trying to make here. But I'm saying, like, you know, the storytelling is here, the backgrounds are here, the anatomy is here, the everything you need to make a good comic book is here. This feels like, I don't want to tell too much of the story because I found it like kind of fun and unique, but the way he kind of fights crime, if you will, or you know, or brings justice to these you know, horrible people, these predators, if you will, is just kind of fun and exciting. And what are Street City Nights? I can't. What was that movie from the 80s? Streets of Fire, I guess. It's giving me that sort of, like, I can't help but think of the movie poster in my brain when I see that. Love the mohawks, love the eye patches. It's very, like, you know, it's supposed to be outlaw. And once again, I sort of feel like I think of all those great, like, horrible, trashy, like, B movies from the 80s with, like, punk rock and zombies. Like, I'm feeling like, what do you call it? Return of the Living Dead kind of vibes. And I've seen Tony's art in different forms, in different genres, all over the place, and he's just a solid cartoonist and a great comic book storyteller. So I'm looking forward to bringing you more of his stuff. But for now, this is Ulf Maverick. How cool is that? On cassette. Like, oh my gosh. Like, I love taking a concept and just, like, pushing it as far as you can possibly go. And, like, congratulations to you. That is so awesome. Like, it is so much fun. And I love this color treat in the back here because anyone who watches my channels knows that I'm a color whore. I'm a colorist myself, and I just live for color. And these are speaking to my sensibilities. So thank you for throwing this in here. And once again, like, honestly, like, is that not, like, some sort of, like, Kirby dots for days, right? So very Eric Larson in a lot of ways, and very grim and gritty, but very ultimately, whatever the influences, whatever everything else, at the end of the day, it's all Tony Fero, and it's all good, and it's all great, and I look forward to more. I hope there's more Ulf Maverick coming. It is so amazing. Good luck to you. Like, oh my gosh, like, so commercial and marketable from such a weird underground indie point of view, right? But I am here for it. I am a new fan of Ulf Maverick, and hopefully you are now too. So follow the link in the description to get your own Ulf Maverick, because this is something you definitely don't want to miss out on. It is too much fun. I feel like anyone who watches my channel could definitely be on board for something like this. So thanks again for watching. Subscribe to my damn channel if you haven't already. Hit that freaking like button, and I will bring you more soon. Thanks, guys.